Welcome to the New School of Marketing podcast, the place for smart, simple strategies that will amplify your business results. Sharing practical tips, insider knowledge, and actionable advice because marketing is something that every business owner can do. Now, let's get started. Introducing your host, Bianca McKenzie, mum, lover of snow sports, camping, horse riding, and in-demand launch strategist and Facebook advertising knowledge bank.
Welcome to the New School of Marketing podcast. I'm Bianca McKenzie, and today I'm talking about amplifying your online advertising with Pinterest ads with Rose Guthrie. Whether she's delivering a sales funnel to a client that results in an 80% opt-in rate or helping a new business collect 800 leads for an upcoming course release, Rose uses deliberate digital strategies and real data to create campaigns that generate more leads and more sales for her clients. She has a commitment to helping small businesses maximize the benefit of online marketing whilst building businesses and living their dream life. All right. Welcome to the podcast, Rose. I am so excited to talk about Pinterest ads. Honestly, I cannot tell you. So let's dive right in because I really want to know all about Pinterest ads. But first, how did you get into Pinterest ads? Why did you choose Pinterest ads?
Oh, God. It's a funny story because when I started my online journey, it was about 2015. I had my second son. I found out I had a degenerative disc disease. So going back to work was not an option. So, I got everything set up. I found a coach, Julie Stoyan. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yeah.
And so she was teaching, she taught me how to build funnels, what funnels were, and how to run ads. So it came time to running my first Facebook ad. And no matter what I did, I could not get it to work, which is funny because now we're in the same Facebook ad circles.
Yeah.
But I worked my socks off to learn Facebook ads. But at that time, I just didn't have the money. Working from home was new to me. Money was limited. I wasn't getting much money from my job because I'd been off for so long with my back. So I needed to try something else pretty quickly. Now, at that time, there was a course that was teaching people how to use Pinterest organically. And in fact, when I started using Pinterest, ads weren't a thing. They really weren't a thing. This was in 2015. So I think they were in beta. So there were very few companies that had access to it, but it wasn't available to the public. Then in February or March 2016, Pinterest ads came to the UK. And I had this challenge that I was launching. It was a productivity challenge, trying to get people into my email list so I could promote something else. So I had this pin that was doing okay organically, and I decided to stick a £30 budget behind it. And after I had it running, I think I ran it for about a week for the £30 because at that time, that's all I could afford. But what was crazy was from that £30 ad spend, I got 3,000 signups to this challenge. Now, it wasn't that all of the leads came from the ad, but what it was on Pinterest, when you turn off an ad, that image still circulates the Pinterest platform. So it will continue to circulate for as long as it's relevant. And then from the back of that, even when the ads are turned off, you can still, generate leads and sales and autopilot without spending a further penny. Whereas Facebook, you turn off the ads disappear unless you've published it on your page.
Yeah.
But with Pinterest, it's not like that. And I kept trying to promote, different things. Sometimes I just run a traffic campaign for £5 to go to my blog because I had an opt-in there. And then I realized even if I spent £5 a week, that image was still driving traffic for months and months and months. And it wasn't just traffic. There were people who were turning into leads. And at that time, I wasn't even really selling anything but services. But it still got people to find my website and it got people to schedule calls with me. And I actually signed clients from Facebook. And that's when I knew this is a thing. I thought, this is a thing. And from then on, I think I played about with it myself for a few months before I started testing it on different client accounts and different industries. And I realized, this is amazing. This is so amazing. It's just so different to Facebook in so many respects and, similar in some respects too. But I just realized that not many people were using it. Therefore, I had an opportunity that not many people did. And now I think that's changing. Now everyone's looking to diversify the traffic. But I still feel even though that is the case, there's still so much untapped potential in there for so many people.
I still feel like there is so much untapped potential there, but maybe it's because I'm not in that space. Like it still feels a bit new. So why would someone choose Pinterest ads apart from the untapped potential? Because in my opinion, it's always been, or not my opinion, from what I'm seeing, and it's just because I'm pinning that kind of stuff. It's a lot of home decoration, and I used it a lot for my wedding. But yeah, like why would someone use it?
Yeah, gosh, why not? That's one thing. But no, in all seriousness, it's just the buying mentality on Pinterest is slightly different than Facebook. So when people generally go onto Pinterest, they're going there because they're looking for something.
Yeah.
Whether they're looking for an idea or they're looking to purchase something or they're looking, for recipes, people on there have such high intent. It makes sense to be on there if your market is on there.
Yeah.
Like Facebook, people normally come into Facebook because they want to snoop on, they don't like, or they want to catch up with friends and family, or they just really want to waste time.
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily on the platform to look for things, but on Pinterest they are. So if you know you're selling something and you really want to be attracted to buyers, I'm not saying this is not a battle of Pinterest versus Facebook, but this is more of a why wouldn't you supplement your marketing Pinterest, add it into your marketing strategy if you know there's going to be buyers there. And with it being so important to be in, have an omnipresence of everything that's going on, even if you're running ads on Facebook, why would you not retarget them if they're on Pinterest, especially if they're looking for what you're advertising on Facebook? If you stay at the front of mind, clients are definitely more likely to buy. Another reason why I like it so much is because unlike Facebook, you can target people based on things that they're researching. So maybe you're a baby fashion line and somebody's looking for newborn clothes. You can show up in those searches when people search it. So, higher, more relevant results and higher chance of somebody clicking on your ad and purchasing. And, bear in mind that even though Pinterest is still a baby compared to people like Google, YouTube, and Facebook, their customer base is growing quickly. I think they're now at 400 monthly users. But even though they're growing quickly, the number of people using Pinterest advertising for the business, and more importantly, the amount of people that are using Pinterest advertising properly for the businesses is so low. And even though I would say that the auction has changed so much since I started using it in 2016, but even so, competition on Pinterest is still a lot lower than it is in all the other bigger platforms because not many people have adapted it yet. So why not adapt to early before all your, competitors cotton on, and then they come on there and then they start driving the cost because now everybody's on Pinterest.
Yeah, I love that because it is still very, in a way, very new, even though it's been around for a few years. It is still a little bit of a baby, I like that you point out that it's quite intent driven, because when I look at Pinterest ads and Pinterest as a whole, and this is why my brain struggled when I looked into Pinterest ads, but as soon as I could see that Pinterest was a search engine, so in a way it's like Google but visual, it kind of like the penny just dropped. And I always try to sort of rationalize to myself, I'm like, okay, Google is for people who are searching for something. Facebook is for people who are not searching for something, but you can get in front of them anyway.
Yeah.
Like more of a, they don't know that they have the need, but, show your thing. And then I guess Pinterest is also a bit of a search engine. So if someone wanted to get into Pinterest ads, is there anything they should be doing before they get started? Like I know with Facebook ads, there's a lot of things they need to do before they get started. What about Pinterest? Can they just like hop on and just advertise, or is there a process?
Yeah, so one of the things I always recommend people do before they start using Pinterest is just make sure that your target market is there first, and make sure that you can advertise on Pinterest. So for example, there's certain things that you can't do. So like if you sell live animals, if you're selling like guns and things like that, if you're selling adult content, you can't advertise on Pinterest. So you want to make sure that you can, rather than wasting your time setting everything up and then you realize that, oh no, you can't advertise on Pinterest. That's a waste of anyone's time. That's one of the very first things you want to do. The second way to find out if you know your market is on Pinterest is just by doing a quick search using the Pinterest search bar to see if anything comes up related to what you're selling. So, for example, if you are, let's say you're a life coach, or you have a life coach certification, and you want to see if there's other women on Pinterest who are using Pinterest to figure out how to become a life coach.
Yeah.
So you might go in there and then you might type in life coaching tips or life coaching business advice. Now, when you go on there, you might see that other people have content about that, which is great. Then it means, okay, great, then there's probably a market here for you. But then you may also go there and you might find that there's not many searches for life coaching skills and life coach certifications. Now, before you decide, okay, right, Pinterest is not right for me, what I'd want you to do is look for indirect searches that could still get you in front of the customers that you want. So maybe people are not searching how to become a life. They are, by the way, but just for example,
Yeah.
let's say that nobody was searching how to become a life coach. What if somebody was searching how to become a coach?
Yeah.
How to take my coaching business offline. You're going to look for indirect searches. As long as you can find something direct or indirect, it's definitely worth testing with a small budget to see if you can get any leads or you can get sales from Pinterest. If you type in search result, if you type in a keyword and you get very few search results, and I have had a couple clients like that, there's chances are that you may struggle or you have to look at a completely different angle to use Pinterest. I had a client, for example, they were selling appliance parts. If you search any appliance parts on Pinterest, virtually nothing comes up.
No. Yeah.
And this is something, yeah, and this is something that I did bring up to them, that it's not that kind of search engine. But I start asking them, who's your audience? They're like, my audience is more DIY people. So I said, okay, why not do this? Create content about people doing DIY odd jobs in their home, like, how to revamp, how to DIY your kitchen, how to DIY your bathroom, etc.
There's
And
heaps of
then get them
those.
to come onto, exactly, then let them come to your blog. And then if they need any parts to complete those jobs, you sell those parts. But putting your parts specifically on Pinterest wouldn't necessarily give you the traction that you need.
No.
And in that case, I would probably recommend you to go to Google, because nobody's really going to Pinterest to look for parts. It's
No.
like, emergency plumber putting their business on Pinterest. No one's probably going to look for an emergency plumber on
No.
Pinterest, but they're
No.
probably going to go to Google and
Yeah.
look for the first number that comes up to get the plumber to come to the home ASAP. So do the search to make sure that things are coming up for you. Make sure that you're not in a banned industry that Pinterest doesn't like. And if you've done those and everything, it ticks all the boxes, everything's fine. The next thing I'd probably do is start installing the Pinterest tag as soon as you know that you want to start advertising on Pinterest. You want that tag on there. It's kind of like the Facebook pixel for it to start understanding what actions people are taking on your website.
Yeah.
And then that also helps because sometimes you may get traffic from Pinterest without being on Pinterest, because somebody's pinned an image from your website and circulated. So if you have that tag on your website and you are driving traffic from Pinterest, then you have a retargeting audience that you can start leveraging straight away. And on that, you can also upload your audiences onto Pinterest. You do that as soon as possible. Then Pinterest will tell you how many email addresses has been able to match with people on your email list. And then that's a good audience for you to retarget if you have additional offers that you want to promote to your audience. So those are the things that I do recommend that you do when you want to get started.
Yep. I love that. Great. And yeah, that Pinterest tag, that is like the Facebook pixel. It's that little bit of code that you put on the website and it starts tracking things. I have that on my website. I don't do anything with it, but I have it on my website. But I think a lot of people don't actually know about it. So that is a really good point. So with Pinterest, like if someone is completely new to it, do you think they need to do it organically before they do advertising, or can they start advertising basically right away?
So it all depends on what the objective is and how fast they want to see results. So I always tell people, if you're going to use organic Pinterest, it can take some time for you to start seeing results. Is that the case for everyone? No. I started working with clients who started receiving results in a couple of weeks or a month, but I've also worked with clients where it took 3 to 6 months for them to start seeing some type of consistent traction on the website. But then if that's too long. You want results in days and weeks, then that's when I'd probably recommend using promoted pins if it makes financial sense for you.
Yeah.
I do recommend if you do have the time and the budget, doing both is a good strategy, because one thing about Pinterest is, like I mentioned before, it does take some time for you to start seeing traction on the organic side. But if you have those promoted pins running, it can, it kind of helps. So somebody clicks on a promoted pin and they save it and they open that pin. Pinterest will recommend other pins, maybe by you, or pins that they think are similar to the pin that you've opened up. And then your content can start circulating that way. So I definitely think having both is the best way. But depending on whether you want to go fast and slow will determine whether you use organic or you use paid.
Yeah. I guess it's a little bit similar to Facebook.
Yeah,
Facebook
exactly.
ads. I always say use both. Like they, in a way, I feel like they can support each other.
Yeah.
So I think that is good.
I agree.
So I know that you do both Facebook ads and Pinterest ads. And
yeah,
is there one that is better than the other? What's your take on it?
I think it does depend on the industry.
Yeah.
I have had clients who have turned on Pinterest ads that were just so much better than the Facebook ads because, the costs were low.
Yeah.
I do want to kind of debunk some myths that are going around, which are potentially harmful. Is that people say that Pinterest ads are always more cheaper than Facebook ads, which is not always the case.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to say it is, but I'm a realist and I just want to set people up for success by giving them, all the correct information.
Yeah.
Pinterest ads can be cheaper, but sometimes it's not. The one thing that I say that generally is cheaper on Pinterest most of the times is CPMs generally tend to be lower. I find cost per clicks can also be lower on Pinterest.
Yeah.
But in terms of it always being lower than Facebook, that's not true. That's definitely not true.
Yeah.
So I think whether it's better or not also depends on how you're using each platform. So if you were going to use Pinterest for brand awareness or, just link clicks, I definitely think that you could probably get your content in front of more people if you did use Pinterest ads, or you can get in front of more people for cheaper on Pinterest ads. But conversions, that's debatable. I've seen it vary from different niches. I definitely think they work well together.
Yeah.
So if you're targeting someone on Pinterest and then they don't purchase and then you retarget them on Facebook, that has worked well for a lot of clients of mine. Because when people on Pinterest, they're generally on there because they're looking for something, then they leave the platform, but then they may spend time, hours even, procrastinating on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
So if you target them where they're going to be spending most of the time, then you might get the conversion there if it didn't happen directly on Pinterest.
Yeah, I like that. I like that they can work together. Or maybe I just need to dive back in.
Try it. Sure.
I should. Now, one thing that I learned, because I did learn Pinterest ads, one thing that I learned was that it was not happening as fast as Facebook ads. What's your take on that? How fast can you see results?
100% true. So normally on Facebook, and I know it does depend on how much you're spending as well, is, you can tell within 24 to 72 hours if a campaign, is doing well or not. But even then, I don't like to touch a campaign on Facebook until at least 72 hours has passed, with some decent data.
Yeah.
And, if it's a lower budget, then sometimes I may want to leave it a little bit longer because we haven't really given Facebook enough spend for them to optimize properly.
Yeah.
Now on Pinterest, it can take 7 to 14 days for it to optimize.
Oh.
Meaning you may not see sales for 3 days and, you might be crying, biting your nose, but you've got to let that thing ride for that at least 7 days before you optimize. And if you touch the campaign within those 7 days, it restarts the learning phase. You're starting over again. And then you're in this cycle, this constant learning phase cycle, and you don't know what to do. So it becomes a nightmare. Yeah. So it definitely takes a lot more time on Pinterest to optimize, which means in the beginning, you may not be able to scale as fast. However, one thing that I would say is you can probably scale a lot faster on Pinterest than you can on Facebook. So, I mean, I mean, it varies because, one thing I've learned about these platforms is there's no one way to run ads.
No.
You can speak to 10 amazing ad strategists on any platform, and they can give you 10 completely different ways to optimize that platform, and they'll all work, and it's just about figuring out what works for your business.
Yeah.
But, on Facebook, on Pinterest, you can, let's say you start a campaign for $100 a day, you complete the learning phase, you are happy with the results, you can increase that budget by 100% comfortably. But, on Facebook, the people tend to say, oh, just to be a peace of mind, let's increase by like between 20 to 40%, a day. But I know on Facebook, Pinterest, I can do up to 100%, and that's absolutely fine. So yeah, it does depend. And, the scaling strategies are also different as well on Facebook and on Pinterest. So it's interesting.
They are two completely different platforms. And this is what my brain couldn't really sort of work with when I was learning Pinterest ads. It was like, this is so different. And I'm a little bit of an impatient person. So yeah, that 7 to 14 days. And I've even heard people say 30 days before you really can sort of really tell something. And I was like, oh my God, I could go on a long holiday.
So to make any changes is 7 to 14 days, but the first 30 days, you're literally just collecting data and learning. You're literally learning. And I find that the longer a campaign is left running on Pinterest, I find the better it performs. It's just like, it just takes forever to get the information that you need. But then once it gets it, you can leave a campaign running for quite a long time, just slowly optimizing it. And it can run for a while. I've had other colleagues who do Pinterest ads as well have campaigns running for like a year, and they're doing fine.
And still,
And then, but then sometimes, like, we had a big shock between I'd say October and about February, I think it was. Pinterest was going through something, and there were some of us who just had campaigns we just couldn't recover. We had to rebuild some of them. Some of us had to stop. We don't know what happened. We know that there was an update going on around that time, but these ad platforms, they like to be vague about what's going on around that time. So
welcome to our world, right? It's the same with Facebook. It's like, you never know what's happening. But that's a really good tip. So really, if someone wants to get into Pinterest ads, it's very much an untapped market. I feel like it's still quite an untapped market. Even the organic side of Pinterest, I think for some people there's a lot of options and scope there. But it is really good to know for people that, yes, if they do get into this, and if they have already done some Facebook ads, to basically ditch everything that you've learned, because it is a very different platform, and it is a slow growth, but it's definitely an area where there is so much scope for businesses. But don't sit there, look at it 24 hours later and go, oh my God, there's nothing. So that is a really good tip. And I don't know, my impatient self, I don't know how I would deal with it. You kind of have to switch it on and walk away.
Exactly. I'm very impatient too. Oh my gosh. It was hard for me to adjust.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can totally imagine. But at the same time, it is interesting because there is so much scope, and it's a whole different area that we shouldn't rely on the one platform. We shouldn't just rely on Facebook or on social media, and diversifying that. And I can see Pinterest is like one of those undiscovered almost places where you still have a lot of potential. So I think that's really good. That's super helpful. Is there anything else any people need to know, or about getting started with Pinterest ads, or just doing it?
No, those are the main things. I would say that if anyone's moving or thinking about moving to Pinterest because of all the iOS changes that happen in Facebook, I just want to make everyone aware that those changes are affecting every single platform. So you're not going to escape the issues. At the moment, Pinterest haven't given much guidelines to the advertisers. So I don't have any best practices to share, like Facebook, they were really good, even though they gave a lot of misinformation. It was, they were really good in terms of this is what you need to do to get prepared. And they did that, 6 months in advance. And Pinterest have said nothing.
Okay.
They said absolutely nothing. So, one thing that I would say actually is if you're going to be using Pinterest, And even if you're going to be using Pinterest and Facebook, so you're using more than one platform, I highly, highly recommend having a third-party tracking system set up. Whether you're going to be using an attribution tool, or you're going to be using UTM codes, or you're going to go old-fashioned spreadsheets, whatever it is, it's really, really important for you to have one source of truth, because both platforms, the tracking right now is going to be very inaccurate with all the changes that are happening. And G1, I would say that the most important, the most viable sign of which platform is working for you is the hard sales that you received. So I normally like to, when I choose my tools for marketing, I don't just take, whether I like the platform into consideration, but I also look at the data collection features. Is it easy for me to collect data? Is it easy for me to pass data from one platform to another? Because I like to use hidden fields in a lot of my landing pages. And when I use hidden fields, it means that I can collect the UTM data and then push that through to my CRM, which is ActiveCampaign. So when I look at a client, I know the date they signed up for it, and I know the exact campaign that brought them into my email list. I just think it's so important that you look beyond the ad platforms for that data. So definitely make sure before you start those campaigns, you've decided what you're going to be using for tracking.
Yep, that is a really good tip, because at the moment, God, it's a minefield. I find it's very everything has just changed. When I even looking into Facebook Ads Manager, it's like I don't know what's real anymore, and I don't really know what it's telling me. So thank goodness for UTM tracking.
Exactly.
It gives us a little bit more to work with. And then like Rose said, look at the hard sales that are coming and look at your conversions. But I guess with Pinterest, because you said it can take a little bit longer, you kind of might just have to, I don't know, what do you recommend? Just doing it and looking at your Google Analytics data in the meantime to see if it actually is improving?
Yeah, so looking at Google Analytics and UTMs for sure, using UTMs for sure is the way that I would move forward with Pinterest, because sometimes the number of clicks and the way that attribute is wrong. It's so wrong.
Right.
So I have to rely on clients having another way to show which conversions happen from Pinterest using a third-party tracking tool.
Yeah. Is there anything that you recommend that we can put in the show notes?
So again, if budget is an issue, definitely UTM codes for Google Analytics. If you have a bit of a budget because you're spending a lot and it's important for you to make sure that you can assess your losses, I would definitely look at Wicked Reports or Hyros. I do think Hyros is easier to set up than Wicked Reports, although I prefer Wicked Reports. I've been a partner of theirs for about 18 months now. So I think maybe I'm just more familiar with the product, which is why I prefer it. However, I definitely think you want to choose a platform that's right for you. I just think it's so important for you to be able to trust the platform that you're using and not just following what everyone says you should do. So definitely check them out for yourself, book a call with their teams to make sure it's right for you.
Yeah.
And then just make sure that you are getting guidance from a trusted partner to help you get everything set up. And a lot of them, Hyros and Wicked Reports, do have teams that can help you get set up as well.
That's wonderful. Thanks. I'll put them in the show notes as well so people can check them out. All right. Well, we're kind of coming up to the last few questions. These are the questions that I ask someone all the time. So what are you curious about right now?
What am I curious about? Do you know what I'm curious about actually? Quora. I know that sounds crazy. So I used Quora a while ago when I had more time than money. I would answer lots of questions on Quora because I had nothing better to do. And I actually had someone help me when work started picking up and I was using it. And I did realize that I did get traffic from there, and I actually did get discovery calls from Quora. And
hang on, what is it? What is it? I feel like I missed out. What is it?
Yeah, it's just like what can I call it? It's like another platform where people just go to ask questions. Like, sometimes you'd ask a question in Google and then you'll see results from Quora.com.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's a question and answer website. I would really like to see how Quora ads perform. And that's definitely something that I'm going to explore in late 2021, maybe 2022, because I've got so much on my plate for the next couple of quarters. But that's
Yes.
what I'm very curious about right now.
Ah, interesting. Like I could barely, cope with another
Yeah,
thing. It's like
yeah,
Clubhouse came out. I'm
yeah,
like, no, I can't deal.
yeah. I got so excited about Clubhouse, and then when I realized that I don't like talking that much, and it was just like talking to so many people in public, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
My love for it died very quickly. I'm
I
very introverted, you see. So
yeah. No, honestly, I think it's a great platform. It's just like, who's got time? Honestly,
yeah,
you got kids, I got kids, we got jobs to do. It's like, nah.
it's an
Yeah,
amazing platform.
it is.
It's just not for me.
Yes, I
Not for me.
just exactly. I haven't gone there, but yeah, okay, Cora. I'm curious about that too now. I'm gonna look it up. All right.
Yeah, I
Well,
love it.
and if you had an extra $1,000 in your marketing budget, what would you spend it on?
Oh my God, that's a tough one. There's so much. I do want to send that one right now. Do you know what? I think video assets.
Yeah,
I think I will spend that. It's a combination between video assets and Google Ads, to be
yeah,
honest. But I think video assets because I can use them for anything.
yeah. That's a
With
good
Google
one.
Ads, when the $1,000 is gone and the ads is gone. But with the video ads, I can use them over and over again in emails for opt-ins, etc. So I think if I had an extra $1,000 in my marketing budget, I'd probably record some videos and hire someone in Fiverr to help me make them look professional. I think that's what I would
Awesome.
do.
I like that. That's great.
Yeah.
I always get so many ideas and tips from from people in these podcasts. It's great. Well, that is the end of this week's show. If you have any questions about Pinterest ads, head over to rosiedoesdigital.com. And yeah, Rose does both Pinterest ads as well as Facebook ads. And she's like all across the whole digital scope. So a really big thanks to you, Rose. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Amazing. Thank you.
And thanks to you for listening. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you heard the podcast. Your review will help others find the show and learn more about the amazing world of online marketing. Don't forget to check out the show notes as well for this episode at newschoolofmarketing.com, where you can learn more about Rose, check out useful links, download free resources, and leave a comment about the show.